Sagittarius, welcome to your monthly sidereal forecast for June. My name is Athen. So let's go ahead and look at the beginning of the month here, because on June 2nd, we've got this full moon here in your 12th house. So this is all about the spiritual side of life. It's about trusting, letting go, getting some rest, relaxation, doing some meditation, tranquil time, listening to dream space. All of these types of things are, it's really just, it's so simplified. It's really just connecting to the now moment. But of course, there's so many different ways of doing that. It's following the ebb and flow of the universe. So however you do that. And we all meditate, for example, in completely different ways. So you have this full moon here, which is illuminating this part of your life. And so it's a culmination point now of the spiritual side of things. I think you're going to see things very clearly with a full moon in the 12th house. It can certainly illuminate some of the deeper spiritual side of things. And you've had Saturn here transiting your 12th house since the tail end of last year, which is putting in perhaps the hard work in regards to the spiritual matters, maybe making sure you are actually meditating in the lotus position or things like that, or having a routine or something where you're constructively working on these aspects of your life in order for you to have more of that spiritual involvement and spiritual connection, or at least that's what you want to be doing with Saturn. Because, Saturn always pays off where there's hard work, and now you guys for the next couple years are going to have the opportunity to really put in some hard work with connecting to that ebb and flow of life. And sometimes it does take some of that, responsibility and commitment, things of that nature. So anyways, it's all being illuminated here around the 2nd. So I would certainly reflect on that, see that. And it's also a culmination point of the new moon energy that you had right here on the 5th and 6th house cusp towards the about 2 weeks ago in May, middle part of May, where you had some new beginnings relating to your self-expression, your creativity, your joy, your fun, which is the 5th house, a lot of that emphasis. But it shifted more into, towards the end of May, it was more about the routine, the daily environment, the things that you're taking care of in that everyday experience, and improving yourself and your diet, all those things. So it's a culmination point of that. So for those of you who have been, reflecting on that area, putting energy into the health and all of that stuff, also helping others improve, also those in need, serving others. That's what it's culminating for you now around the 2nd at the beginning of the month. Now there's still going to be a lot of emphasis here about your 6th house this month. Where we have Mercury going station direct. We still have the Sun and Mars there for most of this month, which I'll talk about. So that's at the beginning though. So reflecting around the 2nd, and I think this can certainly be a high point and illumination point of both of these areas, the spiritual and the more material, the letting go and surrendering, and the making practical and making real and grounding. So it's an interesting balance between these two. It's like we can't have our spirituality unless we're taking care of our physical needs and our body and our time, even time management, things like that. So you want to balance as best as you can these two at the beginning of the month. Then around the 4th, we've got Venus shifting houses. She's going into your 8th house, where you've had Jupiter, which is very nice. This house is also being activated in a very positive way this month, because we've got this nice trine up to Jupiter, which I'll talk about, and Venus is going to be here. So 8th house is about the deeper side of things. It's about the healthy bonds, hopefully healthy bonds that we commit ourselves to and get involved with, sharing resources, always getting into the deeper side of life, being honest, truthful, transparent with ourselves, and then obviously that'll transpire through our relationships. So all of that is very positive, very uplifted for you, with your ruler there, always expansive, always optimistic about it, and now Venus enjoying it. So and it's also relating to, perhaps your friends and groups are going to be going through a sort of transformational sort of time period, because Venus rules your 11th. Your routine is also going through a transformational time as well, with that. So your home and family has already been doing that, I think, with your ruler ruling also your 4th house, and you've been transforming. So an opportunity to enjoy that, though, and to see the beauty in that, and connect to that, and with your relationships too, because Venus naturally rules relationships. So enjoying that deeper side of things, seeing the truth, transparency, honesty, all of that stuff. Now that's going to be the overall, opportunities for you this month, but the emphasis is certainly here on the 6th of the daily environment. On the 11th, we have Mercury going direct in that 6th house. So this is where perhaps over the past few weeks, you guys have been learning quite a bit about how to manage or grow or improve yourself in some way. Applying what you learned about that. This is a nice house position for Mercury because Mercury knows and understands 6th house things. That's what he rules. So you've hopefully learned quite a bit about that through applying that stuff. So now what you want to do is you want to put forward these things that you learned into the routine, the health, and all that stuff. So do it. This whole month you're going to have Mercury going through that 6th house. So apply what you learned about self-improvement and all those things in your day-to-day environment. You'll find that very, 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 very supportive, to say the least. And you know, too, your relationships are going through this sort of, you know, improvement process too. So if it is relationship related, if you guys have been reflecting on the relationship side of things with Mercury ruling your 7th, or relating to your work and career side of things as well, putting those things forward also. You know, you'll probably be feeling that shift here around the 11th in those areas. Now, from the 11th through the 18th, we've got the Sun conjuncting up to Mars. So this middle part of the month here in that 6th house. So I think you guys have been very motivated with the day-to-day stuff with Mars there, perhaps wanting to help others too is another 6th house thing, being of service. And so now when these two planets come together, it's a lot of masculine energy. It's a lot of that fiery, passionate energy. So we want to work with this constructively. And so constructively for you is, again, improving self, helping others improve, and you know, finding that path where you can take that energy and harness it, because the Sun is making this Mars combust. It's making it very, you know, it's like on fire. It's very, very powerful. And so we want to channel it correctly, and it has a lot to do with our passion, has a lot to do with our self-expression. So keeping everything on an even keel here. Because I think you're going to be very motivated. I think you're going to be very self-expressive about these 6th house matters, but probably just in general for all of us. So finding that middle path, not going to any one extreme, is going to be the key here. But in either case, you can channel that very effectively if you're channeling it into, like I was saying, improving self and helping others improve as well. And that's going to help understand. There's going to be more understanding too as that comes about also through this process. That's why I'm saying you're learning a lot this whole month about these 6th house things. Now on the 12th, we've got Neptune going retrograde in your 3rd house of communications. This has been an ongoing theme where you guys are perhaps communicating, you know, in that peaceful way or spiritual way or healing way too with Chiron there. And so in order for you to communicate and also to think clearly, because see, Neptune's kind of clouding the mind here in the 3rd house. It's not seeing, you know, we're not seeing things rationally. We're trusting. Or flowing with the thoughts. And that's what you want to be doing. And so I think you'll be noticing a shift here relating to that 3rd house towards the middle part of this month here. And then Chiron goes retrograde on the 24th. So it's middle part and late part of the month. And for the next 6 months, just reflect on how you can surrender, trust, and flow with the communications and thoughts, you know, the best you can. And that'll be exactly what Neptune is going to be showing you the deeper side of it. How to communicate deeply with more presence, with more compassion, and with more of this sort of, you know, relaxing quality to it, where you're connecting to the ebb and flow. So that's going to be a shift there. Now the 15th through the 28th, which is the second half of this month, we've got a very nice trine. It's the 3rd trine actually since September of last year. We had another one in March, but this is the final of the trines between Uranus and your ruler. So this is all about new things, new sudden things, especially if it's your ruler. You've got Uranus, which is exciting, it's new, it's changing things up, it's mixing, you know, things up. And this is all relating to that 4th house. There's been a lot of changes with your emotional body, with the home, with family, things relating to this, your past, your sentiments, with all that activity past couple months with the South Node here, with Uranus there, especially March. And so that's all been transforming you. And I think you've been finding a lot of freedom with that. So fantastic, because now you've got all this positive excitement, energy supporting you in this deeper connection to life, to what life's truly about, in your relationships, getting more real and all that stuff, seeing the truth, spreading the truth. See, Jupiter is all about spreading information, spreading wisdom. Jupiter in the 8th means over almost the past year, you guys have had this wisdom about the truth of life. You know, what's really going on behind the veils. So this might be another opportunity to share that. It's very emotional too, but it's very supportive. So whatever that is, I think you'll find that. It's also supporting home too. So any changes to home life, you know, would be very supportive, very nice this month, second half of this month as well. Changes could be renovation, it can be moving, it can be family, new family members, things of that nature. Now on the 16th, we've got the new moon taking place. And this is happening, of course, in that 6th house. So, as I was saying, a lot of these new beginnings, and this new beginning is coming from whatever you've learned and reflected on, hopefully, about these 6th house matters, the routine and the work even, the day-to-day work, if it is work-related for you. And so, this is new beginnings here. So, reflect here around the 6th, because I think it's very motivating, because that new moon is conjunct up to Mars, okay? So very, very, how do you say, it's on fire. It's just very passionate. So whatever it is that maybe you're just, you know, really just ready to do and very excited, just you know, very intent on doing, just keep everything nice and balanced, take it nice and slow, because that's what we want to do during the new moon energy. And so reflecting on it, but if you are taking action, just be malleable, go with the flow, you know, because you know, it's supposed to be a time of just reflecting and thinking about where we're heading for the next 6 months and next 30 days of the lunar cycle. So take action, but be willing to make changes. Not that changes are necessarily going to happen, but there's lots of new insight coming to you for these first few days after it. So from the 16th to around the 20th, the sun will then shift into your 7th on the 20th. So that'll be more of a flowing of energy, because the moon's now past Mars, past that new moon phase. So it's starting to gain momentum, and that's really, really where you want to start applying this energy. So maybe it's the work, maybe it's new health regiment, whatever it is for you that you're going to be working on. So that's going to be a shift there around the 20th when the sun goes into the 7th. Then on the 23rd, Mars goes into the 7th. So this is all about relationships, and this is where the energy is taking you into in July, is a lot of the 7th house activity. That's where you're going to have the new moon. You're going to have Mars there motivating you. You're going to be very driven about the relationship, one-on-one connection side of things. You're overall improved. You went through this sort of improvement period this month. And then so the next step after we improve self is, of course, to go out and have those one-on-one connections and share self with others. And that's exactly what July is around the corner for you. So you'll notice that shift, 20th to the 23rd, around there, that whole time period, when these two planets go into your 7th. So I think you'll be motivated by relationships. By all means, put the action and energy into it. I think you'll be expressing yourself in relationships, both because Mars rules your 5th and the sun's going to be there. Very optimistic about relationships, with the sun ruling your 9th house, of course. And yeah, so very nice energy there for those one-on-one connections. Then at the very end of this month, well, as the month comes to a close, you're going to be feeling this Venus conjuncting up to your ruler. Very nice for you Sagittarians. It goes exact on the 1st of July, but as the month unfolds, you'll feel this. So this is all about, you know, the connections, one-on-one relationships, probably groups even. Venus rules your 11th house. You know, very optimistic about anything in that group sphere. Can mean some new opportunities, certainly, in the group-related side of things. And then with Venus ruling your 6th, it's this newfound, I don't know, expansion or whatever in regards to this self-improvement or whatever it is that's been transforming and changing in your day-to-day environment with yourself and how you create your everyday experiences. Maybe it's your health or whatever, but very positive there nonetheless. So look for those opportunities, enjoy yourself, connect to the deeper side of things, because it's all happening in that 8th house. But again, I think you're very optimistic about it. I think there's lots of opportunities there, still trining up to Uranus from that position. And yeah, it can be very nice to connect to your relationships on that deeper level, connect to friends on a deeper level, and yourself, especially this newfound self of this new, like, improved self, if you will, from the early part of this month. So Sagittarius, I hope you guys have a nice month. If you're new to this form of astrology, do check out masteringthezodiac.com. You can click the link down below. Or if you'd like a personal session, and I will see you all next time. Take care.